So you know what a client pays you up front, but it's not actually what they're worth. So in this video, we're going to get into how you're determining a client's actual total value to your business, or otherwise known as LTV, through 4 very specific moments throughout the client journey. But first, we're going to start with something. Every month, so many businesses, so many founder-led coaching and service-based businesses start at zero. And what I mean by starting at zero is that they look at their predictable revenue coming in, they look at what they expect to make this month, and they're like, wow, okay, if we increase our revenue at all, the only way we're going to do that, the only method we have for increasing revenue is getting more clients in the front end. But then when we get more clients in the front end, we don't have the proper systems to keep them in the back end, and we don't have the proper systems to upsell them into a higher margin offer, get them to refer us people consistently into our initial offer, to close people at zero customer acquisition cost, or get them to stay in the same container that they're in at any predictable rate, any of those things at any predictable rate. And what that means is that you're always going to be leaking clients on the back end. So this is what I like to call, what I have here, the high ticket hamster wheel of the industry. I need to trademark that name because it's so true. It's like you stay on this hamster wheel over and over and over again, and all of your clients, all of your revenue only comes from new clients, and growth feels so heavy as you scale because it's only more complexity, more work with clients, more volume, and that makes scale feel really, really hard as you go, especially passing those major milestones, million, 3 million. It's new levels, new devils on a whole other rate. So what's the actual problem? Oftentimes, I think because we spent the last decade perfecting within an inch of its life, how to close our clients. Everything about the close, the marketing, the promises, the tactics, the sales scripts, everything. But we haven't spent any time even attempting to perfect how we deliver on those promises, or rather how we systematically, scalably over-deliver, so that way our clients refer us more business, stay with us longer, and upsell into our next higher margin offer faster and more sustainably. So everybody is tracking their close rate. Everybody's tracking front-end metrics. But the back-end metrics have nothing to do with your close rate. They have nothing to do with how many clients you bring in. If anything, the close rate could actually be a negative indicator, a contraindicator to how long you're going to keep your clients. Because depending on how easily the clients close, depending on what your promises look like, depending on if you can deliver systematically, scalably on those promises for every single client, a higher close rate might actually lead to more complexity, to more issues in the back end. But the point is that measuring the close rate has nothing to do with what a client's worth to you. So here's a formula that I give my clients for the total client value of somebody coming into their program. It's made up of 4 things: the upfront cost, the renewal, the upsell, and the referral. We're going to break each one of those down. Most programs, as I said, only count the first one. They're saying I can only increase my revenue by getting more people on the front end, aka getting more people to pay me an upfront cost to joining whatever my offer is. But the other 3 are going to stay invisible. So first is renewals. The average that I see is about 1 in 30 buyers in most programs will stay in the initial container that they're in. Something like, hey, I really love the progress. This worked out really great for me, thankfully, and I'm gonna purchase again. And honestly, maybe even 1 to 30 is generous, but we'll go with it. I'm gonna stay in this. I'm gonna purchase again, and I'm gonna continue getting the support that I'm getting, right? Or I'm gonna renew, basically. And so the caveat to this is, of course, all this math is gonna be based on a $10,000 upfront offer, and then also a $10,000 renewal offer. So with 1 in 30 renewing, that's $333 per client. But when it's optimized, the baseline, and I'm talking the minimum that I like to see with my clients, is for every 10 clients that you bring in, let's say again at that same $10,000 upfront program fee or upfront fee, for every 10 clients you bring in, you should be closing 1 client that comes in with 0 customer acquisition cost, with no marketing spend, with no real effort in terms of a sales team or closing, things like that, possibly not even having to pay commission because somebody's coming in and they're already pre-sold, they're already warmed up to the idea of working with you because they came in from a referral. And that gap for every client who doesn't close through a referral is costing you $667. Or rather, let me put, for every 10 clients, it's costing you $667, costing you $1,000 per set of 10 clients that come in terms of your LTV on every client. Because if every 10 clients, the math, the way I like to put it is, if every 10 clients that you close from whatever channel, paid acquisition, front end, whatever, organic, whatever it is, for every 10 clients that you close, 1 sends you a referral, and then that person closes without any customer acquisition cost, that means that at the very least, because you don't have to eat all of the customer acquisition costs, at the very least, that's an extra $10,000 spread over everybody, and all those 10 people who came in at the 10K offer. That means everybody who paid 10K is now actually worth 11K, right? Because we take that 10K, we spread it across 10 by 10. But they're now actually worth 11K, right? So easily right there is a 10% increase to the total client value, to the LTV of every single person coming into your offer, to your coaching, to your service business. And so it's really, really, really important to make sure that you're leveraging this properly, because it's like, how in the world, could you increase the value of your front end clients any other way besides increasing the price point? But then if you increase the price point, it messes up the close rate, and messes up all the metrics in the front end. And so again, it just comes down to the back end is so underutilized, so underleveraged. So the next thing is the upsell, right? Now, the caveat to this is based on a $20,000 upsell offer. So your initial offer is 10K. Let's call the upsell offer 20K, right? Which should be at least twice as high as margin, if not 3 or 4x, because again, no customer acquisition cost. The person is already knowing you. The sales process is going to be super, super easy, super flowing. They're coming in and they're going to be leaning on perhaps, it's more personal time. Maybe it's, whatever components of the upsell are going to be more valuable to them. But honestly, at scale, it shouldn't cost you more. If anything, it should cost you less to fulfill your upsell clients. But we can get into that in another video. So if they're coming in at a $20,000 upsell offer, usually what I see in most, and again, this is a little generous, what I see in most programs is about 1 in 20 buys an upsell. Meaning that if 1 in 20 buys an upsell at a 20K, again, using our example math, that would mean there's $1,000 total client value spread across those 20 people. But when it's optimized, I would say a good rate to aim for is 1 out of every 10 purchases an upsell. And honestly, in some of the clients I've worked with, I've seen this as high as 1 of 5 or 1 out of 6 purchases a twice as expensive upsell that is at least twice as high as margin to the business in terms of profit and revenue. So that right there is also going to be about a $1,000 gap. But the problem oftentimes, again, this is in many other videos that I have, is that it's pitched at the wrong time to the wrong clients. So if you're curious about that, check out my other videos. And the last part is referrals. So again, each referral being 1 new client. And I'm just realizing now that we went over renewal. That was supposed to be renewal, but you get the math. We're going to practice what we preach and just keep it messy. Doing all these videos in one take, so we're just going to keep it going. But the referral math, exact same thing. Since we did referral for the other one, we'll do renewal for this one. Renewal is obviously when somebody is saying yes again to your offer, staying in it, continuing service, renewing, etc. Again, I would say the generous metric that I see a lot is 1 out of 30, maybe 1 out of 40. So again, the same math as what we did for the referrals is that they come in and there's about a $667 gap between that. Every 10 clients you close, 1 should be continuing on within the same offer, or perhaps in the upsell, which we just went over. So all of that to be said, all of that added up is that your current, again with this example math, your current client value on a 10K front end offer is about $11,600. And again, that's rather generous, I'll be completely honest. It's actually probably a little bit lower than that. But with everything optimized, just the bare minimums that we just went over. And honestly, let me again say for the record, point blank, these are the minimum standards that I like to see after about 3 to 6 months of working with my clients, depending on the offer, depending on the metrics, depending on where they're starting from. So grain of salt here, all that to be said, is with the minimum enhancements that I would expect from optimizing the back end, you're looking at about 20% more revenue per client with no new customer acquisition costs, no new ad spend, no new marketing spend, no new branding on the front, no new time spent posting organic content, no new time spent on sales calls, hardly anything like that. So what does this mean at scale? If we say you land 5 clients a month, that is $140,000, just slightly over that, more per year from clients that you are already closing without a single new ad, without a single new offer, without anything. So how does this get fixed? Again, referrals, upsells, renewals. Now, question I would pose to you is, what is your total client value right now? Answer these 3 questions. Out of the last 10 clients, how many bought something from you? Again, whether it was the same thing or something else. Out of your last 10 clients, how many upsold into a higher margin offer of at least 2x to maximize your client LTV? And the last thing is, how many out of your last 10 clients sent you a paying referral that closes 0 customer acquisition cost? If you don't know those numbers, that would be a good place to start, is figuring out those numbers. And if you do know those numbers, if they aren't holding up to the minimums that I just described for coaching and service-based businesses, doing between about 500K to 3 million a year, drop the word audit below, and I will send you a fully personalized breakdown of the back end of your business to tell you exactly how you can be making more profit from every single client that you close. I'll see you on the next one.